Hey, good day, everybody. I'm continuing my series on facilities management slash corporate real estate services profession. And today I want to address a question that comes up quite often, and that is the difference between a property manager and a facility manager. And really, in the most simplest definition, a property manager works on behalf of the building owner. The facility manager works on behalf of the tenants. So what does this kind of mean? Well, think about it. If you're a property manager, one of your ultimate goals is to attract and retain tenants for that building and maintain a high level of occupancy. So if you have a 10-story building that you're the property manager of, within that 10-story building, you may have, 15 different tenants that are leasing space in that building. Your ultimate goal and responsibility is to retain those tenants as much as possible, right? What you don't want is somebody to enter into a lease. 3 years later, they get out of the lease, and now you have vacant space that you have to find a new tenant for. And how do you do that? How do you attract tenants? How do you retain tenants? Well, it goes into amenities. It goes into what do you offer in that building? Do you have on-site daycare? Do you have on-site fitness centers? Do you have maybe you have an indoor swimming pool? Maybe you have a Food Line restaurant, or a very top-notch cafeteria that offers, cuisine type food, and not just grab and go type situations. Maybe you have some massive conference room space that tenants can utilize or rent out for some executive conferences that they may not have in their own tenant space. They can lease that space. So that's, as a property manager, that's one of your main goals, right? Is to kind of look at the amenities and then work with that building owner to say, hey, we're losing tenants because we don't have this amenity or that amenity. Are you willing to, spend some extra cash to bring that amenity in to attract new tenants, right? And this is ever changing. As the dynamics of the workplace change, this is ever changing. A few years ago, maybe people wanted on-site daycare, and then a few years later, maybe that switched to some different amenity, right? It's always changing, and it's just something that you have to keep abreast of as a property manager, right? So then a facility manager is on behalf of the tenant. So now they're basically managing the tenant space, and really they're looking out for the tenant. So they're just maintaining the space, maintaining the equipment in that space. And there's definitely overlap, right? There's overlap between property managers and facility managers in regards to what they oversee, because as a property manager, you still have an on-site facility engineering team, and that facility engineering team is going to maintain the core building mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems. And this gets a little tricky. I'm not really going to get into it too much, but the core building, if you think about the core building, the shell, a property management company and their facility engineering team is responsible for the shell of the building. They're responsible for the roof. They're responsible for the common areas. If you have bathrooms that are in common areas that anybody, the general public, can use, that's all going to kind of fall under that property management engineering team. But then once you enter into a tenant space, now the majority of the stuff inside of that tenant space now falls on the tenant to maintain. And again, it gets a little tricky because there's still some things that are in a tenant space that the property manager and the property management engineering team is going to be responsible for. Again, a conversation maybe for another day because it gets a little tricky. But the biggest thing is property managers do have a facility engineering team, just like a facility manager may have a facility engineering team. So there's some overlap there, right? And those amenities that I spoke of can also be attributed to, as a facility manager, workplace experience, right? Everybody's talking about workplace experience. What does the employees want when they go into work every day? So it's the same concept. It's just, instead of looking at it from a attracting new tenants or retaining tenants from a property manager's viewpoint, you're looking at it as how can we attract and retain talent for our specific company, and what's going to bring them into the office every day and get them excited to work from the office every day. So I hope that clarifies a little bit the differences between a property manager and a facility manager. But again, once again, the property manager is there to keep that building occupied, and they work on behalf of the owner. So they want to make sure that whoever is on the lease, that they're paying their leases on time. They're not, making late payments on their leases. And then they're also, again, looking at those creature comforts, those amenities to attract tenants and retain tenants. Facility managers work on behalf of the tenant, and they work on behalf of the company to attract talent into the company and bring them into the office if that is the desire of the company. We all know now, post-COVID, things are changing. A lot of hybrid type environments now, where you work from the office 3 days a week and then work elsewhere 2 days out of the week. But that does not necessarily scale down responsibilities of a facility manager in ensuring that there is a positive workplace experience. Hey, I'm Randy Nisnik. I enjoy doing these videos. I hope whoever's watching them learns a little something about this corporate real estate services industry that I'm in. And if you ever have any questions or want to talk a little bit more in depth about anything that I put out, feel free to drop me a chat. Talk to y'all later. Have a wonderfully blessed day. Thank you.